When you talk about American coinage, one coin stands out, and that is the American Silver Eagle. But do you know what's wrong with this one? Well, it's fake. That's right. This coin is a fake. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you the differences and show you little nuanced items that you can identify this particular fakes with. Please like, subscribe, and follow so you can track this video later on. I want you to look at the screen right now, and you can see that there is a site in which you can purchase this exact coin, $9.20, for a non-magnetic 2023 1-ounce silver-plated in an NGC hard plastic capsule. Well, you know, counterfeiters are getting smart, and the reason that I say that is threefold. Let's talk about the ways that you're going to identify a counterfeit. The first one is you're going to be looking at some of the design elements. Second one, you're going to be looking at the weight. And then the third one, you're going to be looking about the magnetism. Now, in this particular one, it's in a holder. So what this first thing that it prevents you from doing is weighing the coin. Now, this silver coin should weigh 31.1 grams. But this coin, the fake coin, weighs about 31.54. However, because it's in a slab, how do you weigh it? Do you happen to know what the NGC slab weighs? Do you happen to know what a PCGS slab weighs? Do you happen to know what an ANAC slab weighs? If you don't, then it's going to be hard for you to weigh this particular coin. And how do you choose it if it's online? Well, that doesn't really help you. So the next thing you're going to want to look at is the makeup of the coin. Well, the cool thing about this one is NGC metallurgical analysis has been able to determine that 65% of this coin is copper, 21% is zinc, and 13.5% is nickel. Only 0.5% of this is silver. Now, we know that it's a silver-plated coin. We've already been told that. It's been dipped. Now, normally what you would do is you would look at the edge, and you would be able to identify maybe seeing a dipping there. But because this is in a holder, you may not be able to see the edge. So that takes away two of the three things that we would look at. The third thing we might look at is putting this on a slide to see if the slide would prevent that. Well, guess what? You can't very well take a slab and put it on a slide. It doesn't work the same. Well, the diamagnetic property of copper and silver are pretty much the same, so that might not help you anyway. As it says, it's non-magnetic, which means it's probably diamagnetic, indicating that a slide test may test the same on this and the copper coin anyway. So how do you identify that this coin is real? Well, what you need to do is you need to get familiar with the design elements. This is going to be very crucial. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to look at this coin. This is an authentic American Silver Eagle. Its creator, Adolf Weinman. You see the Lady Liberty that came from the Weinman Walking Liberty $50. Under In God We Trust, you can see Adolf Weinman's initials. Ding, ding, checkpoint number 1. Pay attention to that. The next thing you're going to want to look at is you're going to want to look at the design elements around the flowing garment above her right shoulder. This area is going to be very important, even above her left shoulder. That flowing garment is a major tell, so I want you to pay attention to that. And then the other one that stands out like a sore thumb is the laurel that she's carrying. And when I show you the fake, you're going to kind of chuckle a little bit when you see the cartoony look of this particular element of the coin. Now, when you flip the coin over and you look at the reverse, we see the eagle here. It's a little bit harder to tell, but there's some design elements here around the feathers when you're looking at that left leg of the eagle. You're going to be looking at the designer's initials. The lettering around the outside of the coin is pretty close. Unless you really look at it, you're not going to be able to tell very well, but there are other elements that you can look at to be able to identify which one's real and which one's the fake. All right, so now remind you that when you look at these side by side, it's really easy. So if you look at this image, you can tell the one on the left is the authentic one, the genuine one, the one on the right is not. And when you look at them side by side, you're like, oh yeah, I can see that's why that's fake. but could you identify it without them being side by side? What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you the tools by which you should be able to do that. So what I want you to do, look at the left-hand image. Look at it carefully. Look at the stars above her right shoulder and above her right arm. You're going to see in the field that there are very soft, subtle lines. However, in the counterfeit coin on the right, you're going to see that these lines are very pronounced, almost as if they tried to take the lines from the stars and stripes themselves. If you look at the line pattern behind her right shoulder, you'll see that they kind of go upwards. But if you look at the lines behind her left shoulder, you'll see that they go from her neck towards the back of the coin. Now, they match, kind of, except the fact that they are very pronounced and very deep. But if you haven't already seen it, you've probably seen it when you looked at her left shoulder. You can see the berries on the laurel. This is a laurel. It isn't a holly tree. Laurel shouldn't have berries like this. Okay? So these berries just don't fit. I mean, it's just spot differences. They just jump out at themselves. Now, let alone the detail in the leaves are wrong. If you look at that top section all the way through between where the back of her head is all the way into the R of Liberty, you can see it all basically as mush and it runs together. But the telltale, the giveaway, the big flag here is the little berries on the laurel themselves. The next piece that I want you to look at is her chest plate, or the area right below where her breast would be. You can see in the image on the left, you can see that it's kind of a two-fold piece fabric. You can see that there are two lines. It kind of has a little concave look. But if you look at the element on the right, you're going to see it's one solid, thick band. And it just doesn't stand out. It just doesn't look the same. The other one is when you look at the design element on the right, it should flow outwards a little bit to the right and then back into the shoulder. And on the one on the right-hand side, it's kind of curves inward and then up to the shoulder. Again, these are some of the major design elements when you're looking at the top half of Lady Liberty. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to come down here and I want you to look at the Adolf Weinmann. Now you see that the WA in Adolf Weinmann looks like the A is behind the W. However, on the counterfeit, the A is underneath. It's actually like the A is holding the W up, and that is not the correct form for this particular artist's initials. So these designer initials are not done correctly, and that is something else that you need to be looking at. Now, when we flip this over, we look at the reverse. The thing I really want you to pay attention to is going to be the designer's initials. You're going to look at the E and the ESD. You're going to see that the E and the ESD on the left-hand side, the more genuine is smaller. It's more scriptic, whereas the other one's a little bit bigger, more bold. Now, this is going to be one that's going to be very difficult to tell. You probably wouldn't be able to see this when you're looking at it. But if you look at that left edge of the stick that the eagle is carrying, you're going to see that it's kind of like the eyelet of a needle. If you look at the one on the right, which is the counterfeit, you're going to see that there is no eyelet there. That's going to be something major. Now, the next thing is you're going to be looking at the feathers themselves. Now, if you look at the one on the right, you're going to see it looks more like scales instead of feathers. Whereas you look at the one on the left, you're going to see they're more intricate designed. They're kind of more interweaved. And it looks like the feathers themselves are in motion. They're not static. They're not staunch. They don't look like they're, dragon scales or something like that. They should be softer. They should be smaller. They should be more intertwined. But these look like they are dragon scales. And then the final thing that you're going to want to look at is the left claw. If you look at that foot all the way up, you're going to see these pronounced lines on the counterfeit that go all the way from the kind of dragon scale look of the eagle's left leg all the way down through the claws, whereas the one that's on the authentic side, the original genuine, there's only a couple small lines. They don't really stand out. But again, when you're looking at this particular coin, you're going to be primarily focusing on the obverse. Now, again, this is in a slab. So the most important thing that you can do, the very most important thing that you can do is understand the years of slabs and the labels. Look at items. For instance, Lifecoin Q&A just posted a short not too long ago regarding one of these that was identified within the coin community. Now, I think Great Collections was the one who actually identified this and then posted this, and it was a First Strike MS-70. However, it was a PCGS label, but the slab was an NGC style slab. It didn't have the PCGS marker in the bottom right corner, and it didn't have the details within the shield within PCGS. You're really going to want to pay attention to these, so get to know your slabs. Now, in later videos, we'll talk about the weights of the slabs with the coins in them. Right now, what I wanted to do is basically give you some general information. Now, most of this information can be found on the NGC website. You can pull up the counterfeits. You can look at these. But these are things that if you like slabbed coins, if you're a stacker and you don't know the differences in these eagles, there's a very big chance that these may sneak into your collection. Ping test your coins. But again, when you're talking about slabbed coins, a lot of people like slabs. A lot of people like that MS-70. But there are things you need to look at. So be careful. The likelihood is this is going to fool at least one of us in the community before the day is done. Please bookmark this video. And as always, if I have earned it, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you can get more information when these videos come out. I'm going to put the video right here above me to where you can look at the information and see other videos that relate to counterfeits. Again, please bookmark this, share this video out. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and we will see you in the streams.